Konnichiwa.
Okay. Watashi wa Sydney.
Watashi wa Lauren.
Watashi wa Lin.
Watashi wa Chisato.
Watashi wa Nathan.
Watashi wa Maddie.
Guys, so when we first chose a topic for our Global Leaders Project, we decided to do domestic students versus international students. So we started our presentations last Thursday. We went to the International Center after class, and right away we went to a girl just kind of randomly, and she actually happened to be a GECP student. So she was super excited to help us out, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, who's your professor?" Like, she was so intrigued in like what we were doing. So that was really cool. So we interviewed her, and we got really good results. She actually, where'd she travel abroad?
She traveled abroad to Iceland, I believe.
Yes, that was really cool. So anyway, after we interviewed her, there was a table next to her that overheard a Japanese student speaking Japanese, and she was like, right away kind of like looked our way, and next thing you know, she's speaking Japanese to the Japanese student. So anyway, she was like, "Oh my gosh, like, what are you guys doing?" And so we interviewed them too, because we're like, wow, like, this is, what a coincidence. And they actually all happened to have traveled abroad to Japan, so they had a lot of good stuff for our topics and really good answers. They gave us good results.
Yeah, they were also like almost all Japanese minors that Japanese majors with double majors and then a minor. So they kind of knew their stuff. They were kind of intimidating. We had to have the Shimani students like write down everything that they responded, because they knew what we were talking about, and we didn't know how to spell anything.
Exactly.
And that was super interesting. And this is when we decided to switch to like a study abroad versus not study abroad, instead of staying with the domestic versus international students, just because we got like so much information from Japanese majors that we weren't planning on finding. It was total coincidence.
Really cool.
Yeah, but I'm glad that we did. It's something different than, because I know other groups are doing domestic versus international, and that, I don't know, it just made it different. And I think it's important because at MSU they push study abroad so much, and to like how easy it was to find students who hadn't studied abroad was kind of interesting, because it's required in GECP, it's required in almost every cohort program at MSU. So we just thought it was interesting, and I'm glad that we switched it. It gave us something else to like look at, and something else for the data. I don't know, like something else to totally gauge.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's when we switched it. But I'm pretty happy with our results.
Yeah, so am I.
Cool.
So we had a lot of really good feedback, and after we changed our measurement dynamic to the study abroad versus not study abroad groups, it kind of became more interesting.
It made it
I
a lot
think.
more interesting.
Yeah.
And different from the other groups too.
Yeah.
So the first thing we talked about was how people that did study abroad were more likely to know where Japan was, and how people that didn't were less likely to know where Japan was. Oh!
Come on!
Almost all of our group members are here.
Alright.
So yeah, so the first people we ended up interviewing actually went to Japan. So did you think that was cool?
Yes, but I'm sad. Okay. So because people don't know about Japan, so I have to
Teach them.
teach. Yeah, I have to teach them about Japan.
Because a lot of people didn't even know where Japan was on the map.
Yeah.
So
The biggest thing we found is that after taking the actual interviews, people often felt like ignorant or like guilty that they didn't know a lot about it. So they were more likely to go and learn more about it and figure stuff out and get that exposure to the different cultures.
I think American people is seeing like anime. Yeah, in Japan.
yeah, a lot of people thought that Chinese culture was the same.
Yes.
But it's not.
That was the biggest thing, especially with guessing how many, we ended up asking how many Japanese students people thought went to MSU, and the majority of the answers were like hundreds or even thousands, but really it's like 63, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
What we found with people who studied abroad was when we asked them their aspects or what they thought of Japanese culture, they seemed to go more in depth than everyone who hadn't. People who haven't studied abroad said basic stuff like respectful or stylish. When people who traveled abroad, especially to Japan, they seemed to interact more with them, obviously, and said that they're more welcoming and provided more specific examples of how they interacted and how their culture is as a whole.
So I feel like the biggest thing we took away from this is that not only did traveling abroad to Japan help them with the interview, obviously, but it helps them in real life too. Like, they were more open to like starting up a conversation with them and just being accepting overall. And I think like having exposure to more cultures like helps in those aspects of life.
It was definitely surprising to find so many people that had traveled to Japan, and I know it made the Shimane students very happy, since no one really knew enough like they should have.
Yeah, so it was a cool experience.
Yeah, we're happy. Okay. All right, Maddie, take it away.
Okay.
Wait, repeat that. Actually, I'm confused.
Sounds good. Should we do intro?
Oh my god.
So embarrassing.